Hello guys and welcome to a new video here on Up to the Nines, and this is quite a boring intro. I'm just figured out how to actually have music on. I'm actually not that bad with video editing software or with sound editing software. I hope the microphone is not in the picture. But Summer or the City was a miracle to me, a puzzle. Well, I think I'll just leave the music on. Who cares about a DMCA? So, what this video series will be, and I'm not 100% sure how I will call it. This will just be me talking about some stuff I recently watched, read, consumed, listened to, whatever. So, and the inkspots start to annoy me, so I'm gonna put on some different music and we're gonna go and start this thing. Boo. I'm not up to something too upbeat. Bing Crosby. I'm not even sure if you can even hear that. It's not important as long as I can hear it. And it further my mute. Putting the keyboard aside, if you're wondering. So, the first thing, I lent this copy from my brother. It's Kickass. I think the first part of the comic, I read somewhere that there's a second part coming out or in progress of being made. But, this is the first part of the comic, the whole story arc with Kickass and Hit Girl and Big Daddy and such. This is the German version. As I said, I landed from my brother. My brother's 12, and so he reads the German version. Obviously, his English is not that advanced. I'm not through with it yet. I'm about halfway through, I think. Halfway through. That's where I am. But it's really interesting. I made a mistake though. I watched the movie before I read this thing in its entirety. I owned a single issue copy of this comic book, which is the half of this, more or less. And I read that, then I watched the movie, and now I'm going on doing this. But from just judging from how the comic book is, I'd say that the movie is not really true to it, but it's an interesting take on a similar story. And I actually like the movie, not love it. I like it. It's all right. I always said in Ordnung. That's German. No one understands that. Only my 5 viewers or something that speak German. The handful of Germans on this channel, so I don't feel alone. I'm actually kind of paranoid that the microphone won't pick up my my voice loud enough. I hope I can place it here without you seeing it. Makes this any difference? The German just keeps coming into my speech right now. It's really late and I'm kind of tired. It's not really late. It's like 8 p.m. Am I retarded? Just have to get up early in the morning, one of these days, to go to school. Okay, let's go on, because you don't care about my school life, do you? The next thing I've been reading is actually a book. It's The Intrigues of Haruhi Suzumiya by Nagato Tanigawa. This is a light novel, which is something in Japan, which basically means it's a don't know the exact term for it, but it's basically a novel for young adults, a youth novel, something like that. In German, it's Jugendroman. But who gives it credit? Is it even? Because this series under the name of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya was adapted as an anime which is, if you're at all familiar with anime beyond the basic level of, the big three, so Naruto, Bleach, One Piece, and some bigger things like Gurren Lagann or Evangelion, then you should know Haruhi Suzumiya. And this is one of the books that expands on what you've seen in the series, the show. Actually, this is the first book which has nothing to do with what you've seen in the show. I own 2 other copies which tell stories that play around the same time, which the show and the movie are set in. But they still have some parts from the show in them, and those I skipped because they really are not at all different from what you've seen in the show. Or you haven't because you don't watch anime and you're not a faggot. That's at least what my parents tell me. No, they don't. Well, my mother. Not in those harsh words, but yeah. So this book, like I said, it's a novel for younger people, or it's not really difficultly. Is that even a word? It's not really difficult to read now. Now the foreigner speaks English quite well, sir. I bought these copies, the paperback editions, not the hardcovers, because the hardcover editions have like these partially not sexualized, but really like sexy poses on them, and I really am not looking forward to reading such a book in public. Which is when I mostly read in public because I have I commute every day from and to school, so there's time for that. There we are back at school. These books are mostly like only traditional book thing, but they have because it's from Japan. The one or the other page where you have this sexy drawing. We're not going to open the page with the bisexually looking guy, but that gives you some kind of idea what this book is. Actually, I'm going to talk about this later. Yeah, skip that. Okay, the books. I'll try to give you as rough of an idea what this show is about. So there's this protagonist is named Kyon, and he's some guy who comes into high school. And, he's a lucky one because basically the hottest girl in class sits right behind him. So he thinks, I will hit that shit. And, some of his new friends tell him, no, please keep your hands off that girl, she's fucking crazy. Like most women. And, but she's a special case. So he tries it anyway, and, they were right. She's fucking crazy. Because she tells everybody in class as they introduce themselves, I have no interest in normal humans, I just like aliens, espers, time travelers, etc. And, he thinks she's a fucking weirdo, but he still keeps talking to her. And, after a while, she, gathers some interest in him, and no one knows really why, no one knows. And she basically forces him into forming a club with her. The club later is called the SOS Brigade, which stands for some shit I can't remember, something. Overloading the world with fun by Haruhi Suzumiya, some shit like that. And the other members of the club are some a transfer student, some hot girl she forced into the club because she looked hot, and basically the only member of the literature club, which whose room they stole, whatever. Who knows how to use that? Am I embarrassing myself? Probably. And, what happens after a time, and this is a spoiler, if you want to watch the show, stop it here and skip. It turns out that the 3 other members of the club are, in fact, an alien, an esper, and a time traveler. and that they are there to basically surveillance this Haruhi Suzumiya person, because they have different theories what she is, but the general sense we get is that she's some kind of god who basically dreams our world, and they try, but she doesn't know, and so they try to keep her in ignorance, and try to make her life happy, so she doesn't destroy the world she lives in. And so this book is, like I said, an expansion on what the show has 2 seasons, and which are in total, I think, about 30 episodes. And it expands on that. It's actually one of the few anime shows I have any interest further than the show itself. It's really cleverly done. Unfortunately, the 2nd season was, and who has watched it knows it's a fucking disappointment, and some of the most fucking bad and insane seasons you've ever watched in any medium. Those were just a terrible choice they made with that. Again, spoiler, I'm going to break it to you who don't care to watch it or don't care for spoilers. In the 2nd season of the Haruhi Suzumiya TV show, they had, the season had like 15 episodes. I'm gonna look it up real quick. What, 1 second, guys. Haruhi Suzumiya, right here. I know, it's really important that I tell you that. It has, I think, 14 episodes, yes. And 8 of these episodes are the exact same. It's mostly the exact same script. And it's called, by viewers of the show, The Endless 8. What happens is that this Haruhi Suzumiya, who is God, makes the last 2 weeks of summer vacation repeat themselves over and over again. And so the viewer was stuck 8 episodes with the same script, because time repeats itself, and they don't realize it until like the last episode, really, or they don't do anything about it until the last episode. And so you have 8 times the same episode out of 14. That's just fucking horrendous and terrible. I'm just glad I didn't watch that show when it aired. Just imagine 1 episode a week, 8 weeks, the same fucking episode, just with different perspectives and clothing. Oh boy. A good book. And here are some colored, so that you can get an idea of the visual style of the book. Why does every page look like someone is gonna get raped? This is how the characters look. The protagonist is actually in this, but this is the Haruhi Suzumiya person. The show itself was done by Kyoto Animation, who are one of these studios that just have an absurd amount of money, apparently, because they did Haruhi Suzumiya, which was extremely successful, and some other shows like, what did they do? Full Metal Panic, K-On!, other shows that were really Clanad, whatever. And yeah, they have money, and their animation quality is just god tier, basically. Woo! Talking about anime, and it's gonna continue because we're gonna talk about manga, but we're not moving from the Haruhi Suzumiya subject, because so if you don't care for this, I don't know if we're gonna talk about something different. I hope you enjoy my jibber jabber. What was that? Overly sexual? I hope so. Next thing is it's a spin-off manga of the Haruhi Suzumiya franchise, and it's and now I'm just going to come to the thing I wanted to talk about. This is the manga. It's the disappearance of Yuki Nagato. Yuki Nagato, just for a quick explanation, is a side character or one of the main characters, not the main character, in the series, in the books, and she's the alien. And in the movie, or in one book of the series, she basically created another world, spoiler, just watch the fucking movie, and then she wasn't an alien anymore, and no one had special powers and things, and she wanted to live like a normal life. And this manga explores what would have happened if this would have been the rest of the series, the show. So, first I'm gonna explain what this thing is about and quick thoughts on that, and then the subject. So, this really is not what you want when you have read this or watched the show, because this is not. When you watch the movie, you expect a certain kind of thing out of this. A bittersweet story basically, and maybe some subtle romance that develops over the show. Not a lot of comedy, and obviously no action and stuff like that. What you get is basically a gag manga. So this is no character here acts like they did in the book or the show. Not at all. They are all a shadow of themselves. Really, they look like themselves, and sometimes they don't even look like themselves. Really, because the art style is different. And well, I wouldn't recommend this if you're looking for the same thing you have experienced in a TV show. Yeah. So, now the thing I'm going to talk about. So this goes for the covers of these two mangas, as well as for the pictures you have in this year, which, if you know, you're gonna get raped. Gonna get raped. Here. Stuff like that. I personally, I don't know if it's feeling uncomfortable, but I don't know sometimes what why it has to be that these covers are like, this is not real. Is it sexualization if they play up to a certain fetish? I think, like, look at these. Why can't we just have a normal cover? Why has it to be and I'm glad to see you? Why can't it be a normal cover? Why have in Japanese culture, or generally in anime, why do they always have to play up to these fetish thoughts and dreams of certain otaku? I know that these guys are the main buying crowd in Japan, and they make the most money, but, well, guys, have some fucking dignity, because it's a general thing that puts a lot of people off in anime. Anime can have really good storylines and really well thought out. I just some examples: Neon Genesis Evangelion, perfect example. Excellent storyline, really well done, but some elements are just, why would you bring these weird sexualized characters in there, or you don't even sexualize the character, but put them in situations or give them out of character moments that are just fan service, bland out fan service that has nothing to do with anything. You can do fan service and you can make it clever, you know. That's what most better Western films do. Not all of them. I'm not talking fucking Transformers or something, but you can have something, if you want, erotic or kind of, well, nice to look at in your work without making it like this, you know, this pandering stuff, you know. It's really, if I can't sit in a train and read something because it has a cover like that, it's kind of sad, you know. Well, I could, but I don't want to think that if I would sit with something like that in a train, some people would think I'm reading porn or something, and I don't want people to think that. I'm weird enough as I am. It's just something that bothers me in recent times. Well, I personally, I don't have problems with it as much as I just don't understand it. Well, I can tolerate it personally, but I just, you know, you watch an anime you really like, and then it's like you see a scene like that, and you just, guys, why did you have to put that in? Was it really necessary? Can we not leave that to the doujinshi artists and fan fiction writers? There are enough of them. Well, I guess sex sells, even if it's drawn or animated. Yeah. These were some of the things I've read through, and what have I watched? If you're interested. Well, I recently bought Reservoir Dogs. I bought a Doctor Who complete collection set, complete in quotations, because it actually is season 1 to 4, which is the original I have no idea about Doctor Who, so don't fucking laugh at me for not knowing anything. I think that's the original British series. What comes after that is American. Am I right? Am I right? Okay, I'm wrong. So well, yeah. And I bought 8mm with Nicolas Cage, who actually I think is an awesome movie, but I guess many people hate it. I just never heard someone talk about it, so I guess you don't like it, or everyone thinks it's meh. Yeah. Well, that were all the things